I am Kim van Nieuwhuizen. We're here at this moment at the Leiden University Medical Center. This is a hospital in Leiden. And I am a doctor and I'm also a PhD researcher in the gynecology department. And where I focus on is to decrease the environmental impact of the operating room. This hospital is a university medical center, which means that we as a university, we're also conducting a lot of research. So we focus on all kinds of research within the medical field, also more and more in the technical fields, and also more in the environmental field. So what I focus on is more in environmental research compared or combined with the medical research. Our focus points in relation to green are multiple points in the research for the operating room department. So the first part is we're focusing on the employees in the operating room, or what is their behavior? Are they acting more green, and what are their barriers and what are their facilitators to act more green or make more sustainable choices? Our other focus is on life cycle assessments. So we focus on certain products to see how we can improve the environmental impact and maybe use other products instead of these products to decrease the environmental impact. And another part we focus on is on treatments. So we look at certain treatments, and if we see if within this treatment the effectiveness is the same. So for example, when you have to treat heavy menstrual blood loss, you can have 4 types of treatments for that. And where we look at is, for example, 2 of those treatments, they have the same effectiveness for the woman. So we look at the environmental impact. So maybe if we can help the patient in the decision-making process to elaborate to them what the environmental impact is, so they can take that into their decision-making to make a more sustainable choice in a treatment for their disease. Life cycle assessment is a method to define the environmental impact of a product or a process throughout the whole life cycle. So what you do is you look at where or how high the environmental impact is for certain different outcomes, because you can look at the CO2 footprint, but you can also look at acidification, water usage, land use, for example. There are multiple outcomes and impacts. And what is also most important within a life cycle assessment is that you can see where the potential is to decrease the environmental impact of this certain product. And we call that environmental hotspots. And when you focus on this, you can make a product more environmentally sustainable. At this moment, we are also conducting a life cycle assessment from a cellulose or for cellulose pads compared to reusable mats, because these cellulose pads, we are using that for patients to collect fluids, body fluids, but we use this and we throw it away. It's a disposable one. So we're comparing this now to a reusable one, and to see if this reusable mat, we can use this instead of the disposable cellulose pad, and to see if we still have to use this cellulose pad to see where we can reduce this environmental impact. In the LUMC, we also have green teams. I am the chair of the green team from the LUMC. So that is the whole university hospital. And what we do is we have a sort of a network with all the smaller green teams where we can help each other to progress in sustainable implementations. So a green team in itself is a team of motivated members that are working together on sustainable initiative within the hospital. So for example, we at the operating room department have a green team with surgeons that are involved, managers that are involved, nurses that are involved to help everyone together to implement sustainable choices. And for the LUMC Green Team overall, we have this network to connect one another and to help each other with the barriers they're having, or maybe to help them with new ideas. I would advise an organization to set up a green team because I think it's important that we accelerate this transition. And I know from practice that when we have a green team, things are happening quicker. So, for example, what we want to do is we want to, instead of using a lot of disposables, we want to use more reusables. And I've seen that when you make one person or two people responsible for this task, that it happens quicker than when we say, okay, we want to change to more or using more reusables. And within a green team, you have a few members that have that motivation. They want to be responsible for one certain task. And in this way, a green team will help to quicken this transition. In our OR green team, we have 4 different pillars. The first one is reducing waste, because we have a lot of waste that we're producing. The second one is focusing on disposables and reusables, because we want to use more reusables instead of disposables, because we know that has a lesser environmental impact. We also are focusing on reducing the amount of anesthetic gases we're using, inhalational anesthetics. And the fourth one is also reducing the medicine residues. So you can focus on these pillars too, and also have ideas within these pillars, which you can focus on within your green team. The last thing which you can do is you can focus on more long-term goals. So for example, you say, well, in 2 years, we don't want to use any reusables anymore in our department. And then you do everything and you come up with ideas to make sure that you achieve your goal. The healthcare is very polluting because we as a healthcare sector, we contribute for 7% to the national CO2 footprint. And that is comparable to the Dutch aviation sector. And this is a lot. And we as healthcare professionals, we are responsible to decrease our environmental footprint, because also with our commitment to our patients to take care of a healthy environment for our patients, with what we're doing now, we're also making this world sick. So I really believe that we should do more and faster and quicken this transition to make healthcare more sustainable. We as a healthcare sector are dependent on our suppliers, that they provide for us sustainable products. But I think there's also another way, because we as healthcare professionals can also have more of an opinion in our procurement process. So what's happening more and more in the hospitals is that the procurers are more busy with implementing sustainability into their tenders. And in this way, it's important for the suppliers to have more sustainable products available, so we can still use those products in our hospital.